And thank you for joining. This is the Q&A portion of a Massachusetts roadmap for family engagement through a racial equity lens. Gosh, that was a mouthful for some reason. Maybe I need more coffee. So for those of you that I don't know, I'm Michelle Crawford from AMCHP, and I am going to be sharing any questions that were dropped into the questions tab during the workshop presentation. If you didn't get a chance to submit your questions, no worries. As I mentioned, we have plenty of time for Q&A. This goes until 10 minutes after the hour. So you can either put them in the chat box or feel free to raise your hand so that we will know to call on you for a question. And with that, I'm going to ask our speakers to go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll get to the discussion.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Roxanne Hope Chandler. I am the Early Childhood Systems Coordinator for Family Engagement and Training at the Massachusetts Department of Public Health in the Bureau of Pregnancy, Infancy, and Early Childhood.
And hello, everyone. I'm Larissa Mendez-Pinacta, Director of Program Support and Development in the Division of Pregnancy, Infancy, and Early Childhood. Welcome and thanks for joining us for Q&A.
Yes, thank you. And we will make sure that the PowerPoint is uploaded. I have to email some folks and we'll make sure that gets done. But we can also put a few links in the chat as you see here.
Great, thank you. So we did, aside from those couple of PowerPoint or resource questions, we did have one question from Lisa, which I'm going to pop into the chat here just because I know some folks like to see what's being responded to. So the question is, have you developed communication tools to share this initiative framework with families, and are you able to share those materials with us?
We have put together kind of a couple of one-pagers to share with families, and I will share that with you as well. A lot of this work, it's for both. It's for families and professionals, but it's a lot for professionals. The framework is, very much, we're asking for professionals to take the first step in the engagement process. But we do have forms to simplify that whole presentation for like a one-pager for families. And we're also, like I said, it's education, human services, and health. So a lot of people are making specific PowerPoints to train staff around ways to engage with families and what family engagement is based on their expertise. So if you're in education, if you're working in a hospital. So a lot of different people are making kind of like train the trainer modules for people in the field. So I'm writing that down, something else to submit. Thank you, Lisa.
And I just want to add to what you said, Roxanne, because you said exactly the thing that you and I talk about often about, it's really the piece about engagement is often about changing the way that we practice in our work. So when we're having meetings and we're inviting families to join those meetings, how do we, as folks have been sitting around at tables using lists of acronyms together for many years, how do we kind of check ourselves in our behavior and make sure that people feel welcome at the table and all that kind of, thinking about how power comes across in different ways. So as Roxanne said, those tools are for the practitioners very much.
Thanks so much. And two other thoughts while you guys are coming up with other questions is one, just wanting to give my amazing colleague Nia a chance to say hello, who is wonderfully managing some of the Zoom functions that I am not so good at. And while she says hi, please also the rest of you feel free to just pop in the chat and just let us know where you're from.
Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. I'm Nia Sutton, the Program Manager for Emergency Preparedness and Response at AMCHP. I work on the Workforce Development and Capacity Building team I'm really grateful for this presentation happening because racial and health equity are really core to who I am as a person. So just thanking the presenters and thanking everyone for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
May I jump in I really like what Lisa just said. Lisa Franklin said, I think it can also help move initiatives forward when families know what to expect and can begin to hold practitioners to the standards in your framework. And I thought that was a really good comment. I agree. You're right.
There are times in developing the framework when people say, well, where's the parent piece, or how do we say this to parents, and how should we word this for parents? And I say, you word it the same way. I want the parents to see the same things that professionals see, the families to see the same things that professionals see. And if we have to say it a different way, then maybe it shouldn't be said quite that way, to have everybody on the same page of expectations. But yes, this framework is on everybody's website. It's in my email signature. I even have a background that I usually use with the QR code now that people can just see me in the back and go, so everybody can see the framework. So it is for everybody, but I agree with you so much. Something that I also talk about that I'm really proud of, and I just want to let you know, because I heard some of the chat when we came on, was that we really went to families and asked them first. And like, what is engagement to you? What do you need? How many transitions are you going through? What do you want people to know? So it was done in partnership with families from all over the state, all the way through.
Thanks. And I see Linda has her hand raised. Do you want to go ahead and unmute?
Hey, yes, and I'm sorry I'm not camera ready today, but I see many familiar faces and names. But I just wanted to double check. I was looking at the link that you all put in, family-friendly tools, and it says in development, and it goes to AMCHP, who is a partner with our Title V program on quality improvement. And is it the quality improvement roadmap that came out recently that you all were trying to link to? It goes to a broken, it shows a broken link.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for letting me know that, Linda. Let me do some research while we're online here and we answer.
Well, I can drop it in because I was the co-author for that roadmap.
Yes, please.
And I'm just
for me, it's the Massachusetts government website. It worked for me. I'm not sure.
So
and when I did it, it linked and went to AMCHP and showed broken link with AMCHP. So that's funny. I don't know
I think we have two different roadmaps. That might be
That might be what's going on.
Yeah. So I think what Linda's referring to is the AMCHP family engagement. I'm reading.
Yeah, it's a long title.
It's a long title. And then this is a good time, now that we're a little further into the chat, to highlight that toward the end of the presentation, I mentioned that we didn't have the link to the racial equity roadmap, which is a specific Massachusetts developed tool. And has a lot of the information that was on the slides that I talked about around racial equity and that really relate to the family engagement work as well. So I'll drop it in one more time now.
And Linda, I would appreciate if you did drop that link in. That would be great. We check these links before we put the presentation together.
Yeah, it's just goofy, right?
Things happen, and thank you so much for catching that. And if you could share that.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see. I mean, you all. I'm going to be looking at your all's information and sharing it out with our statewide groups because you've got great stuff too. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Ayana. Yes, parents and providers receiving the same framework, speaking the same language. Thank you. Speaking of language, we also have translated the framework into different languages. So Spanish, Portuguese, definitely Cantonese.
And I just cut and pasted the post that you did earlier, Roxanne, just for
Thank you.
folks that joined after that was put in there as well. Are there other questions or comments? And also feel free to share anything that you are doing in your state. I know in addition to Linda, we have several other family leaders on this Q&A session. So if you're doing something relevant, something you would like to share, please chime in. That would be super helpful.
Eric, when you raise your hand and you hear utter silence, just go for it, dude.
I was just trying to be respectful, like, all right, don't call me, like the kid in the back with your hand up. Hey Becky, how are you? Just wanted to say, Larissa and Roxanne, hopefully I see your script. Great information. I am from Texas Department of State Health Services. I work in the maternal and child health branch, specifically in children's special health care needs, and I am the family engagement specialist. Don't let that title fool you. I am still working to develop our framework, our guiding principles, and really getting it off the ground. Michelle knows I was in one of AMCHP's leadership development, family engagement things, programs, and we're still working hard. It's just different, projects come and go, and we were down some staff, so I kind of got put on the back burner, but we've got a full team now. We're moving ahead. So, I just kind of wanted to get y'all's idea on, what do y'all recommend for like collaboration to where I could learn more from y'all, because this is very new to me. And I've got some great guidance and great colleagues.
The Federation for Children with Special Needs has been educating, empowering, and informing families through our information
Sorry,
center.
that is me trying to
The
get a link
information
together.
center
And I
is
am
run
gonna
by
stop
trained
that.
volunteers and
Thank you.
No worries.
Okay. So one, I would say, I also put my email in the chat, so let's definitely keep in touch. The Division of Children, Youth, and Special Health Care Needs has been on the second tier of planning this framework. When we made our framework, we looked at other frameworks, and we wanted, I also have a child with special needs that got me into this work, right? So I wanted this framework to be able to be used for everyone. So we looked at all these different frameworks and put it together so that it's one framework. So I would also introduce you to some of the people in our division in Massachusetts of Children, Youth, and Special Health Care Needs, and show you some things that they've done specifically for the populations. But I also like to say, we say that engagement started with families who have children with special needs, like parents had to be engaged.
Yeah, definitely. And we're definitely working on that. And I know, because I'm in the Children's Special Healthcare Needs Systems Development Group, that's just where I'm housed. And that's kind of where we're starting. But the idea, the long-term vision is to encompass, child and adolescent health as well. And we've got some folks that are here at AMCHP as well that are here as well. And so I want to do pretty much what y'all are doing, but just tailor it to our communities. I'm not too sure how big Massachusetts is, but we've got 254 counties.
Yeah.
The majority of rural, and so it's like, how do I extend me everywhere, and just really learning framework, and we can chat offline and maybe get in a meeting. That would be great.
We definitely could. I just want to drop this seed into thinking about not doing it all by yourself. So the Department of Education was on this, Department of Public Health, DTA, because we want everybody to have like the same belief system. So maybe doing it that way, coming together, everybody bring what they have, if anything, and starting from there. So it's not all on you. And wherever a family goes, wherever they touch, be it healthcare, the community, education, that everybody is working with the same guiding principles.
That's awesome.
Great.
Great.
Definitely talk offline. I'd love to introduce you to some people here.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Building off Michelle's offer about there being so many people on here, which is absolutely true, who are totally all about engagement. I work with the Workforce Development Center, the National MCH Workforce Development Center, and I've created a draft of a workbook for professionals about how to engage with people who have lived experience. And I'm going to really put some, like kind of rejuvenate my energies and get going again on it in the next half a year or so to really kind of polish it up and make it something that's useful for folks. And so if folks are interested in helping with that, I'd love for folks to review it and take a look. Does it ring true for you? I see you're raising your hand, Larissa. Thank you. But I'll be reaching out to some folks too. Just thinking, let's just get one that all of us could then use instead of each state developing its own.
Right.
I love the stuff you guys have put together. Outstanding work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. And that sounds like a great resource you're developing. So definitely interested in talking to and others about that.
Ivy, do you want to unmute?
Sure. This is so ambitious. I know you're in the great big state of Massachusetts, and we're just in little old Texas. But aligning all the different systems, plus going from prenatal to young adulthood, even for Massachusetts, and I lived there for a while, it's hard to get my head around. So kudos to you. I'm just awestruck. Becky, feel free to reach out if I can help with your effort. Michelle, the niche queue link that you added with several, I got an oops to that. I opened all the others, and that may be what you are all talking about.
Yeah.
And didn't I hear or see that Family Voices is putting together a resource on, like guiding principles, or that may not be the wording, on family engagement as a tool for all the states. Did I hear anything anywhere? I can certainly see where there's a need.
Is that what
They gave us the FESAP, but that's a tool. That's not, how do we help families feel comfortable in public health and understand, Title V, that is so foreign. So things like that would be really helpful.
So I'm not sure if this is.
Families feel they're on a level playing field. That happened somewhat organically through the Children with Medical Complexity coin. I know Becky was a part of that. There was just so much education along the way for all of us, and we all learned and grew together. But if we're out there on our own and we don't have this huge project with, it was Boston University that were tying us all together and leading it, what's out there?
Okay.
And if we may not be able to bite off everything you guys did, I can't wait to listen again, take more notes, and digest everything you shared. But I'm also looking for something I can run with to help families be comfortable in our world.
Well, that's a big ask that you're asking. I think that it's based on relationship building. You have to start off to have trust. As a parent, I often look at how people try to engage, and it's quick. They're like, okay, I'm here, let's do this work. And that doesn't work for me, So sometimes it's time, giving time and being patient and not biting off too much at one time. I tell people sometimes, like, if you're trying to engage with someone, it could be it depends on wait, like for community health workers, if you're saying that you're going to call them at 5 o'clock, call them at 5 o'clock. You know, you said it, you committed to it, you did it, something that simple, so they know what to expect. So it isn't done quickly. You know, a lot of times we want things done quick, fast, like we have to fix this, and that, you know, that really doesn't work in terms of relationship building. For my students, I give them a scenario: are you dating or are you engaged? Like there is a difference in when you're working with families, and asking families what they need, what they want, giving them options, what best suits you. I am doing a focus group for some families in the next couple of months, and I asked, how do you prefer to be communicated with? Is it through a Zoom? Is it through email? Do you prefer the text? If we text, am I texting your phone number, or do I need the WhatsApp app? You know, really trying to cater it around who I am working with. And ideally, sometimes I realize that as the professionals, we need more help engaging than the families do.
Hi, I am Carmen Melendez. I am a family leader and Title V specialist for Children Medical Services in Florida. I would like to really happy for resources, and I really appreciate it that you can put the families, you know, in this work. As a family leader, I really appreciate that. It's a good beginning. That's all that I want to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see a question from Ivy. Is it Ivy that I see? Like, how long has it taken us to do this? We first got the grant which was without finances back in 2018. But like I said before, we went out to families first and asked them what they were looking for. And we had meetings all over the state and got input from different families. And we looked at other frameworks that were already put together, and we tried to make one that was inclusive. And especially like on the transition piece and the special needs, where we know that there are so many transitions and processes to go through. So based on that, like we ended up doing a lot just basically on transition. And we realized, like, if you even break it down to early childhood, like I gave an example of when a baby goes from formula to solid foods, that's a transition. Not just when the child goes to school, but when children leave pediatrics and go into adult care, especially for children with special health care needs, it's a big transition. For some, it's turning 22. For some, is when you turn 14 and parents aren't able to talk to the doctors the same way as they used to. So there are so many transitions that families go through. And that's another important piece of making sure we have people with different expertise at the table, always including parents and families, but just so we can have something that's inclusive.
So, hello. I found myself clapping a lot during your presentation, especially around the community engagement piece and looking at how you invest as a large department in community engagement. So I'm a public health nurse, and I have a team of home visitors, and we also do community engagement. We participated in the City Match Birth Equity Institute, and really looking at how to bring individuals, communities, and systems together to do community engagement. So we're bringing groups of parents and things like that. And it really has moved our work in around what we're doing on doing upstream and downstream work. And so I think that as the momentum has picked up, we are also still doing both, sorry about the cat, both the work that we're doing in direct service, and then a small team also doing the community engagement. And so if there's any ideas you may have on frameworks that encourage departments to invest in that community engagement piece, because it takes time to build those relationships, and you can't say, okay, come to my event And then because you have to, it is a work group, and then you also need to go to the events of those stakeholders that are also engaged in the work. So I don't know if there's any thoughts you may have about that, or frameworks that can help to kind of conceptualize what that may look like for a home visiting unit.
Well, I'll tell you, Department of Public Health are working on doing our community engagement framework over, and I can send that to you, the older one, but they are looking at this framework as the way it was set up. So like, they're like, we really like what you have here for families. You know, ideally, you would think that people would realize that if you want them to come to your event, you're gonna go to their event too, right? Those are some kind of like, in a way, like social skills in terms like that. But in the working world, that doesn't always come across. But we talk a lot in the framework about things being reciprocal, about give and take. And you think about when there are a lot of catastrophes or like things that go on, like think about different regions who are dealing with vaccine and vaccine equity. If people had relationships in that community already, then it was probably a lot easier to gain trust because it was already there. But we also talk and give advice on like having cultural brokers who are already in the community that you can partner with. And it's okay to say that this funding came from us. They need to know that we're there, no matter who we are. Like just to name it out loud, like who you're representing so that they see you there. Sometimes people don't like to say, oh, we don't want to say we're from this department or we're from the state, but let communities know that you're there, you show up, and that makes a world of difference. It helps with the trust as well too.
All right. Did you have a follow-up, Sneak?
Yeah, so I'm thinking more so on terms of system as a big organization. Okay. If there's a way to, because you know, we are direct services, so we get funds to do that part, but to give some framework to our department that helps to, because our relationships with community it's there. And so
teach up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're reminding people on the state level, we try to work bottom down, top down, bottom up around family engagement. And we push also racial equity in that too, when we use the framework and everything we do, and also in terms of making sure there's translation so that everybody has access to the information. So it sounds like part of your question is, how do you get buy-in for people up top? And I'm wondering if the data, have you collected data to show the difference of when you are engaging in that way? And often, sometimes I have had experiences when people higher up don't see at the time the importance of some of the work that we're doing. And Larissa, help me here. I'm always like, let's just do the work and they'll see it, and yay. And they're very happy with the work that's done. So you have to keep saying, adult learners sometimes need to hear and see things 7 times before they get it. Just keep doing the work. And because people tend to speak with data shows and proves. Show the data of when you did it a certain way and their positive effects, and when it wasn't done. And that might get the point across.
Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. I do see that Ivy just had a quick question. If families were compensated for their time. So if you want to, if one of you could just answer that in the chat. I just want to thank everyone for attending and for what was obviously a really great exchange here. We're a couple minutes over, so I appreciate y'all hanging in there. I do definitely want to acknowledge, as was already done in the chat, sending love to our Texas friends, as well as all of those of you that had to send or know children that are off at school today that are important in your lives. It's a scary time for everyone. So my heart and support goes out to you. I encourage you to take any time that you need for self-care and to support those that you love. Thank you so much to our amazing presenters, and thank you both for hanging in there and giving us a few extra minutes of your time. We'll get those materials uploaded to the conference platform, and I look forward to seeing you all throughout the rest of our time during the conference together. So take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.